Hello, everyone. My name is Felipe. I'm here with the Charter for Compassion celebrating Golden Rule Day. Happy Golden Rule Day to everyone here. This is the Children's Charter Kids Then and Now. This is a super exciting panel that I'm happy to present to all of you. And Erin Henry, who was the head of the project 14 years ago, will tell us a little bit more about this, and then we'll watch a couple of videos before we get into the conversation. Erin.
So welcome everybody. Happy Golden Rule Day. I'm very excited to be part of this for so many reasons. I founded this project 14 years ago, and it was a direct correlation from Karen Armstrong's Charter for Compassion that was sort of launched at the World Peace Summit in Vancouver. And I was extremely inspired to do something on I thought the charter was going to be about 22 pages. You know, you think charter, oh my goodness, how are young people, illiterate people, people with disabilities, you know, new Canadians, how are they going to understand this complex charter? So when it was launched, it was actually a page long. So I was thrilled to see that. However, it was a little bit too complex for what I felt my kids, who at the time were 4 and 7, would understand and relate to. And I thought the message was paramount for everybody, no matter what age it was. So I was extremely excited, came back to Toronto, went to work. Children's Charter was derived. We have 2 activity books, and it's been an amazing experience from day one. And I think you'll see and learn from the kids who are not kids anymore, how they've grown through this and their message then and now. It's a very exciting time because in 2009, it was heart and mind education was not a regular thing. So I'm very pleased to know that we're able to do this. We are expanding, and there are so many opportunities for everybody to become involved. So I welcome you to this awesome panel of individuals. Take a look at them. I guess it was 12 years ago when they explained their vision and views of the Golden Rule and a compassionate world. And then we'll speak to them here and now. And it's an honor to be part of this, and it's an honor to welcome you. So thank you very much, and enjoy.
If everybody practiced the Golden Rule, wars would end quickly, probably. And if everybody did the Golden Rule, they would be a better person. It'll be nicer, peaceable, and respectable. And you'll get to have a lot of compassion at your place and be peaceful and stuff. If everybody does that, everybody could get along and be nice to each other. I would think that there would be less wars, less fighting with less mom and dad fighting. If everyone followed the Golden Rule, then everyone would be kind to each other. Like at recess, there would be like all playing, everybody, and really nice, and lots of people are going to be sharing. People will really, really, really like you, and then the whole universe will be friends with you. To make Earth a better place to live on. So like everybody can, maybe there will be no wars and more peace in the world. If there was no golden rules, then everyone would be like having a really bad personality. Strangers are going to maybe be good, turn into good guys. So that's what I'll like to see the world. Have a happy life. Let's say there's a bully at your school, or any bully. You do good things to them, and then maybe they'll do nice stuff to you. It would be a really good place to live on. I treated my best friend Emma. I said that she could use my favorite toy that I left in my desk for my show and tell, and she got to play with it. So that was when and then she said that she would let me play with one of her things too. One time when Caitlin was being mean to me, I said, can you stop? And then she's like, okay, but then she said sorry, and then I said sorry. I used it on my sister over here, Grace, and I let her one day let me play with build my Lego ship a couple days ago, and she helped me with it, and me and her did lots of stuff together, and we made a pretty good team. This morning, some of my friends were helping me out because I really got hurt, and they were really being nice to me, so I'm going to respect them all the time. When I wanted to make new friends, I had to say, can you please be my friends? And then they be my friends, and they really liked it, and then they liked me. I used the golden rule this afternoon at school at lunch break. My friend Austin, he fell on the ground. Everybody started laughing at him, and everyone in my class, they were helping him up, saying, Austin, are you okay? And he couldn't talk because he couldn't breathe properly for a few seconds. So we were helping him up, turning him over, trying to make him feel good so he could feel better. It means to me to treat people you want to be treated. The golden rule teaches me how to get lots of new friends. I think it means having a peaceful land, and each country has no wars, and everyone getting along. It also means treat others the way you would want to be treated. Yeah, you can do the golden rule a lot. You'll be a better person, and you'll get more friends, and you'll be happier. If you be respectful to others, they will teach you. They will give you respect back. So that's what the golden rule is about. That's what I think. And you have more friends, and the whole universe is friends to you. It teaches us to be nice to other people and stuff like that. To treat others the way you want them to treat you, so the world can be better people. It teaches us how to be nice. The golden rule means compassionate. I think it's important for my life so I can learn to be nicer and stuff. Unless I'm really mean. I don't know if I am, but I don't think I am. Instead of physical, use your words properly, and don't say something mean to someone. Or if someone's hurt, don't go, ha ha, wow, how did you fall? That never hurted you. That's not the way to treat them. A nice way to do it is help them get up. If you treat people the mean way, they'll treat you that way, and you won't have a good life if you treat other people in a mean way. I would practice the golden rule because it makes me feel good. I practice the golden rule because I don't want to be a bully at any point. And so now my friends are really my best friends, and I play with them a lot. When I practice the golden rule, it would make me feel quite good, because then if I do good deeds and good rules to people, then everyone would do the same thing back to me. You treat them how you want to be treated. So I want my friends to like me, so I treat them how I like them, and that's how they like me more. Well, I think the golden rule is important to everyone. If there was no golden rule, then everyone would have wars and all bad stuff. And now that there's a golden rule, everyone can get along and share nice stuff with each other. Every day, the more people who learn the golden rule, perfect it, the more people who master it, the better the earth will get every day.
I think it's going to be hard to definitely top those answers. But going back to the first question, what would the world be like if everyone practiced the golden rule? So I can start us off. I think that if everyone practiced the golden rule, the world would lead with empathy rather than with an incentive for benefit. I think that people would be a lot more understanding and would put others before themselves, and it would be a selfless system that we live in rather than selfish, which I think that many can agree is what our world is built upon. Thinking before we speak, thinking about how our words and our actions could impact others rather than how it can benefit ourselves. And our actions and our words that we do put forth are a product of compassion, rather a product of how can I benefit from this? How can I, like, what goes towards me, not what goes towards others. And I think that overall it would be a much more compassionate and happier, uplifting, positive world if everyone practiced the golden rule. So who would like to continue on with that question?
I can go for it.
All right, Max.
Hi, everyone. I think, can you hear me all right? Okay.
Can I just add that perhaps we introduce ourselves? We saw you when you were little, and Max was the very animated handsy guy. And this is my son, Max Henry, who is actually the original artist of the logo for one of the activity books. So, hey, Max.
Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's good. Believe it or not, my art skills have actually gotten worse since then. So should put that out there. But I think just getting back to Quinn's question, I think the world would be a lot more simple. I think there's a lot of anger and hate going around right now, especially. It just makes everything so complicated. Everywhere you go, like in Toronto, you see it every day. Just no one seems happy walking around. I think there would be a lot less violence that you see on TV and hear in the news. It's like every time you turn on the media now, it's just something negative. Like we try to stay away from the radio just because there's very rarely anything happy. So it would be a lot simpler if there was more practice of the golden rule globally. I think even if anyone just put a little bit of thought into what it means, it would show immediately. You wouldn't see as much hatred, and everybody would just be a lot happier, and the world would be a better place.
Hi, I'm Kate. My sister is also here with me. Yeah, I think 100% I agree with the two of them. I think people are becoming a lot better at expressing how we feel on different situations, and people are speaking up now about their emotions. It's not so, we're not keeping it in our head. So I think that's definitely a good step towards minimalizing hate in the world and stuff. But yeah, I think the world would definitely be a more positive place if everyone were to follow it more often. And I just think being more understanding of what people are feeling is definitely a big step towards getting there.
I can go next. I'm Nicole. All three answers before me were very great. I completely agree with you. I think, just simply put, people will be able to have better relationships and build stronger connections with strangers, your friends, family. Just obviously, the world is very opinionated at times, and a lot of people are going to disagree on topics, and different points of views always exist. So just being able to kind of approach a situation with an open mind is really important, and kind of just being able to express your values collaboratively, I think will be able to allow stronger connections to be built and thus positive interactions.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I can go next. My name is Grace. One of the things that I've noticed on a large scale is that a lot of the systemic like isms, such as like racism, homophobia, sexism, all of those, they're derivatives of hate and anger. And if people did treat others the way that you truly did want to be treated, especially if you were in their shoes, a lot of these hate speeches and crimes that we see every day, especially as Max was talking about in Toronto recently, I think would definitely be solved. The world would be a much better place. But I know it is a challenging subject to tackle, and hopefully one day we can all work towards that, though.
So I'm Maya. I'll finish off this question because they were all great answers before me. So basically, my perspective is that I think this world would overall be a calmer place because the stress, the pressure of dealing with negative and hateful emotions towards other people would honestly just be gone. A lot of people do tend to be hateful, judge, and that can create so much stress around the world and even in the environment. If you walk in a room with people who are having a negative, bad attitude, and you can just tell they're not going to treat you the way you deserve or treat you with kindness, you can just tell that that room is going to be a place that's not nice, not one you want to be in. Rather, if everyone was kind, everyone be calm, relax, and overall just a better environment to be in.
Can I just interject here? I'm noticing that Shane made a comment. Quinn, are you seeing any of the comments in the chat? Perhaps you can just reference the one thing that Shane added here at the end.
Yep. So Shane says, why are we not following the golden rule? What is creating the violence, hate, and resentment that Max and Grace are referring to? And excuse me, how do we get to that simplicity in a more calm place? I think that the best way to kind of get to that more complex is integrating the golden rule into our everyday lives and starting young with the Children's Charter, for example, starting in kindergarten and implementing that into children's brains at a really young age so that they can carry that out for the rest of their lives. It's just second nature. Yeah, as you just said, Mom, education. I think that's the most important thing to really get any message across, to have anything play out, is education. And I think that the golden rule is no different. And that doesn't mean that it can only apply to young kids. I think that as long as anyone is educated on the topic and sees it throughout their day, practices it, then we can get to that simplicity and calm place. If anyone else wants to add, please do.
Yeah, Quinn, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Like, that was perfect. One of the things that I always think about is the fact that people are not born hateful. It's always learned, and it's always something in an environment that they learn.
Definitely. Is there anything else anyone wants to add, or do we want to move on to the next question? Okay, great.
Sorry, one quick thing. I just added into the chat that one of the biggest problems we have now is that we are afraid to talk about our feelings and talk openly without feeling like we might be, criticized or condemned or ostracized. So I think a big part of the education is to have that, as you guys have all said the word calm, and awareness that you can have dialogue about these types of things without fear and being embarrassed about it, because it's real. And, you guys are the ones who are going to make the changes. And I think that's important. So.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So on to the second question. When have you experienced the golden rule in action? So an experience of mine that is a little bit more recent, but has definitely stuck with me ever since. In November of last year, I went to Paraguay on a surgical program with Operation Smile. And I was a student volunteer, one of 4. And on screening day, which was the first day of being in the program, being surrounded by everything, there was, excuse me, there was this one dad and his son who had left the site to go get lunch. And the son was playing with my friend almost the entire day. So we had no clue where they went. And then they came back and with their food. And before they had even had a bite or like touched it, they offered it to us if we wanted to have anything or if we wanted to have the whole meal. And they were there to get the free surgery from Operation Smile. They had traveled like 7 hours on a bus to get there, and they were going in hopes that they were getting surgery. It wasn't promised. And when someone who doesn't have a lot to give, but wants to give everything that they have to people who are there to help them, or even just to anyone, I think that's like the epitome of what the golden rule stands for. And that like 5-second interaction of them asking if I wanted a bite of their pizza has it's definitely something that I think about often, and it has been instilled in my everyday perspective ever since. So who next?
I can go ahead. I'm sorry, Max. I saw you turn your mic on there. That was really beautiful, Quinn. I really like that. That was a great description. I think me personally, my story's not as good as that, but just being enrolled in STEM courses as a female, a lot of the time it kind of, I think, becomes a bit, not belittling, but I feel a bit undermined to some degree sometimes. So I've kind of developed a sense of being able to be really transparent with other people in my program and courses and laboratories, and kind of just being able to build strong connections is something that I realized the golden rule has actually kind of been a part of. So just being kind to everyone, being able to, you know, be nice when sharing information, learning new things, because everyone's going through their own situation, everyone's going through their own difficulties. So it's really important to just keep that in mind, to keep an open mind when speaking with others.
Awesome. Okay. I would say I've experienced the golden rule through a few different mediums, which I'm fortunate to say, because I think, as we were kind of touching on before, a lot of people haven't been exposed to the golden rule and kind of integrate that into who they are as a person. So I think we're all pretty lucky to say that. I would say a most recent time for me was probably experiencing it through my new job. Getting started as an intern can definitely be tough and intimidating. I think especially as we all move back into work from COVID, it can be definitely a difficult time. I would say, but at my company, from the day I first got there, they definitely made me feel included, and kind of took away any anxiety that came with transitioning into the company, into the new role. This kind of came from one-on-one mentoring, taking me out for a coffee, teaching me the ins and outs of the company, and even just tapping on my shoulder here and there to see how things are going. It really meant a lot to me. And it really kind of showed how the golden rule can be applicable in any environment, just kind of from a corporate perspective. So I'm definitely lucky to say that I've experienced it. And I'm hoping to reflect that back to my employee or my coworkers as well.
That was really well put. One of the things on a smaller scale that I've experienced, and I think is really important to teach young people as well, is to surround yourself with people who actively utilize the golden rule. And even one of the students in this chat, like Nicole, she used to work at a pizza place back home. And one time I was coming in to get one, and I saw her helping an elderly woman bring her pizzas to her car. And just seeing your friends like participate in the golden rule and help out people like really uplifts you and makes you know that you've surrounded yourself with great people.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a particular instance, but I just kind of wanted to add that I feel like I notice it a lot when like strangers are using manners or just being polite to you, just kind of out of the blue. You've never met these people, but they're just genuinely polite. I don't know if it's just because that's just how they are, if they're trying to better your day or anything, but I don't know. For instance, people holding the door for you or just asking, how are you doing, if you've just met them or something. I feel like those always kind of stick with me, or just throughout the day. It's like, oh, my day went well. This random person that I've never met before was really considerate and kind. So yeah, that's definitely something that I see, and I try to implement that in my everyday as well. So just kind of being seen and heard by individuals that you've never met or don't know that well is, I don't know, it's kind of touching.
So I guess like my story also kind of expands on what Kate was just saying. So recently this fall, I went into my first year of university, which came with a tryout for my lacrosse team. And I didn't know anyone. I was freaking out. I was so nervous. I was telling my mom the whole time, the whole car ride up, I was freaking out, so scared because I didn't know what to expect. I was anxious. I didn't want anyone to think poorly of me. I wanted to perform well. And I guess an example is a total stranger, one of the girls who's now one of my closest friends, we just started having a conversation, and we basically haven't stopped talking since. And I think that's just a great example of even just some random person you've never seen in your life, just being kind and to a stranger, even to just go and be like, hi, how are you? and just spark a conversation. So yeah.
Quinn, do you want to just read what Coach Kelly was
I was
referring
just
to?
about to. So Greg Kelly said, there are several factors that erode our kindness. Social media creates a safe place to hate. There are no consequences except getting blocked. Hit and run actions allow for desensitizing our interactions, and we have lost some human connections. There is a true lack of empathy in our daily lives, and this type of forum hopefully is a step to rebuild and share a better way to treat one another. I definitely agree. I think that adds on to what we were saying earlier in terms of just educating, and it's platforms like, I mean, social media is definitely a place for hate, but it's also a place for organizations like the Children's Charter for Compassion and the Charter for Compassion to build a platform to promote and encourage their cause and the golden rule, and to educate people on what, like, yes, there's a lot of hate in the world, but there's also a lot of love in the world, and that we can promote that and get more people to join the cause and to practice the golden rule. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add before we move on to the next question? Okay, great. So the third question is, what is the golden rule? So I think on paper, or not necessarily on paper, but in terms of all the different interpretations, the basic idea is treat people the way you want to be treated. But you obviously can expand a lot more than just those few words. To me, I would say the golden rule is showing love and compassion and empathy for anyone, regardless of who they are, where they come from, who you are, what your relationship with it is with them, and just showing basic human respect for others. And apart from that, I think that it's also very important. The basic saying goes, you can't love anyone else if you can't love yourself. But so showing respect for yourself, loving yourself, showing compassion to yourself, because the golden rule means nothing to others if you can't put it onto yourself.
I can build
Right.
on Quinn there. But yeah, I think as Quinn says, it goes back to its roots, and like, you show compassion for others without feeling the need for anything else in return. It's not rocket science by any means. I think is kind of the stigma that kind of prevents people from practicing the golden rule. I would say that kind of preaching the rule itself is a lot easier than people may think. It's making people feel a sense of belonging and inclusion in any environment. It's fostering respect and understanding. But that's it. Like, there really aren't any strings attached, which is what is special about it. It's like Quinn said, it's treat others the way you want to be treated. It's nothing that should be a mystery to those that can really appreciate it and practice it.
Can I just say one thing to Max's point? That really is an important point, that there's no magic to this. So you don't have to buy it. You don't order it on Amazon. Like, this is something it's as simple as a smile. So it's not a difficult thing if we can just learn how to do it with ease. And I agree with that statement that we can all do it. So sorry to interrupt.
I can take a stab. Obviously, we have the treat others the way you want to be treated, like Quinn stated, on paper, but I think it's really important to kind of pose it as a question instead. So make it, how is someone else going to feel based off of my actions? And then in doing so, you can kind of develop a sense of how someone's going to be affected by you or using your own judgment. So I think it's really important to kind of hone into your cognitive essence and really just put yourself in someone else's shoes. And as a result, you will most likely find yourself being more kind, which everyone could use.
I think, yeah, to piggyback off of what Nicole was saying, like, just having a general sense of kindness all around to anyone, because at the end of the day, you don't know what anyone is going through, and just having that standard or that question in your head is, how would you feel if someone did that to you? It really could honestly change someone's whole life, and you would never know. And you could change someone's life positively or negatively. And I think everyone can agree you prefer to change someone's life in a positive way, and you will never ever know. So I think just having that standard of just keeping kindness regardless of what the situation may be, or because you just never know who you may affect and how much they could really need that kindness in the day.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Maya. One of the most important things that I learned from high school in one of the social equity classes that I took was to acknowledge and understand that everybody does, as hard as it is to admit, have some degree of unconscious bias. And it's really important to acknowledge that and accept it and change it, because your actions are a direct derivative of how you feel about others, and being able to treat other people the way you want to be treated, as the golden rule states, comes from your own mind and the way that the prejudice that you have of other people. So I think acknowledging that and changing that for the better will definitely help out anyone who wants to practice the rule.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point, Grace. I think obviously nobody is going to have the exact same viewpoints or opinion as you. So with that, it's just really important to be able to listen and then reflect on how you're going to respond to that said situation, rather than either reacting out of spite or just instantly reacting. I think it's important that we can kind of see how our reactions or actions would affect the other person in the situation. So I don't think the golden rule hasn't changed since we filmed those videos, 12 years ago. So I think it's pretty much just treat others how you want to be treated. And I think that's pretty much the basis of it. So just obviously we can expand on it, but I think obviously just being able to put yourself in someone else's situation and reflect on how you would feel if you were them. I think that's definitely really crucial.
Yeah, definitely. Just the basis being treat others the way you want to be treated. There's a question in the chat I want to get everyone to share and give their input on. How much impact do you think knowing about the golden rule at an early age really had on your life? Did the subject come up later in life in thoughts or conversations? Would you recommend the experience for all children? So I think that having the golden rule be a part of my everyday life from the time I was a toddler, without realizing it, has played a very important role. When I was little, I thought that only I knew about what the golden rule was, and I thought it was something that my mom made up. So later, when I was older and it came up, I was like, oh my gosh, what? I'm not special. But it was I think it played a very crucial role in the person who I was when I was younger and who I've played out to be, but subconsciously. Like, I don't think before I do something, oh, am I following the golden rule? Because it's instilled into my brain. And I know to put others before myself. I know to think before I speak. I know to lead with empathy and with compassion, and to care about others as much, if not more, than I care about myself. And I would definitely think that for every child in the world, it is important for them to understand the golden rule, because it is a very simple topic, a very simple statement. And that if all children understand it and are able to apply it, then that will promote and encourage kindness in generations to come. Would anyone else like to add?
I 100% agree with you on the fact that, like, I literally thought we were the only kids that knew what the golden rule were at the time. I remember, like, a week after we filmed the videos, I was at my grandma's house and she mentioned the golden rule, and I was like, how do you know about that? But apparently a lot of people know about it, and it's not just us. Anyways, yeah. I think obviously too, it has to be taught in different ways dependent on age level. I think that's something to consider as well. But obviously, when we were taught it at such a young age, it was just treat others how you want to be treated. That was literally what we were being told, and I think that was perfect for us at the time. And now we can kind of expand the idea or concept into different social events and factors, or I don't know, just us now being able to notice that, or us being able to put ourselves in other people's positions now. I don't think we probably wouldn't have been able to do as well 10 years ago. But yeah, it's definitely been helpful learning it at a younger age, because we've probably kept ourselves from a lot of troubling situations with it.
Can I just interject here quickly on that, as obviously the person at the time having young children, I agree with you all 100%. And, you know, big words like compassion and empathy and those things, they're not big words if they're explained properly. And it doesn't matter, you know, your age, your intellect, if you are or not a naturally empathetic person. It can all be conveyed in a very simple manner. And that's why it can be conveyed at such an early age, like you guys were. And it doesn't have to be a scary thing as long as it's properly explained. And that was sort of the goal. And obviously you guys have all utilized that and grown with it. And I'm fascinated to hear how in depth you guys have come to explain all of this. It's amazing. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left, so let's move on to the last question. How do you practice the golden rule? I think, going back to what we just said, I don't think that I blatantly practice it. I think it's just second nature for me, and I'm sure all of you can agree, that it's just in my everyday actions of thinking about others' feelings over mine, or thinking before I speak, before I do something, and making sure that those who I'm around are happy, and what can I do to make sure that everyone feels heard and welcomed and included. And I think it's just my everyday actions, and every day I try to accomplish something else or have a good day, and I want to make sure that those who I'm around, whether it's my friends, my family, are there alongside me, and they can also achieve their goals and overall just have a good day. And if I can be a part of that, then I think that's how I would practice the golden rule.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think one way more recently, actually, that I've kind of just been like practicing it is literally just listening to what other people are saying. Because you're always like, oh, I'm listening to you, but I don't think we realize the subconscious emotions that are going on inside, I guess. So when you're just listening, for instance, if someone has a counteractive argument or just viewpoint on something that you're talking about, and you might not agree with it, that's totally fine. But I think rather than pursuing the reactive emotions that you might have, like maybe they're harsh, maybe they're not, just kind of push those to the side and just listen to what people are saying, rather than just automatically bursting out and saying, I don't agree with you, you're wrong, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great answer, Kate. I personally agree with you, just based off of sibling conflict that we have definitely endured in our childhood, because sibling conflict is real, like it has an effect on young children. So, you know, just being able to actually listen, like what you just said, rather than immediately reverting to a deflection mechanism, which is human nature in a sense. You're always looking to defend yourself. Just being able to listen to what others are saying, and then it may end up in, you know, a new little spark, a new little friendship, a new little connection that can be made, whether that's just helping out someone, a good deed, whatever, maybe, oh, like when I helped Grace with her English essay, because sometimes her grammar was a bit off on that one, but that's okay. You know, it helped her out, and just showing simple acts of kindness really is what it's all about, I think.
Max, maybe?
Sure. Yeah. Just don't want to repeat too much what you guys are saying, but I totally agree. Definitely Quinn, I think, has to work on her grammar sometimes too, but I think the biggest thing is just being I think just, you know, trying to see the person you're talking to and kind of how you're coming off to them, putting yourself in the other person's shoes is one way that we can all practice it, thinking about what you want to say before. And again, like I don't think it's meant to be something that overly has to be thought of too much. I think we're all lucky that we have had the opportunity to learn about the golden rule at a young age and kind of have it develop with us. And now that we're all older, it kind of just is second nature. But I think for somebody that, you know, might be hearing it for the first time, I think it can be as much as just just having more care for the world itself and the people around you, and overall just trying to be a better person.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Max. Another thing is just treating everyone with an ample amount of respect, as you think you might know what's going on in their life, but you only know like this much of what's going on in everyone's life. And it's really important to treat everyone with kindness, just to make them feel included. Just like as Max was saying in his job, he was very happy that he felt included. And I think that's so important when you, like a lot of us came to new schools in the past couple of years, and it's hard to make that change going from, living at home to, for some of us, like 3 hours away from home. So just making everyone feel included, and it does make the world a happier place.
So I guess to just kind of sum up, not trying to repeat anyone too much, but basically just it's just like something that's an unconscious practice almost, but just making sure that everyone's feeling like heard and understood, and just little things that is just making sure that everyone feels comfortable in a situation, and basically just always thinking about the fact that if this was me, what would I want to happen?
Great answers. I agree with everyone. To address Greg Kelly's question, knowing most of you as student athletes and knowing how well you carried your responsibilities at high school, I'm curious to know how you reach outside your team / academic group / clubs to include those outside your circle. I know for me, I'm a very outgoing and talkative person, and it drives a lot of people insane, but I can't help it. But for me, in certain classes, especially this semester, I find that I don't have classes with any of my close friends, but I do make an effort to talk to anyone who, if the table group that's next to me, I'll randomly turn around and try and start a conversation with them. If they said something, just compliment what they said, or after a presentation. And whether they want me to talk to them or not, I think it's just that quick little interaction and acknowledgement that I would like to think can make someone's day, because I know if someone were to do that for me, I would think about it for the rest of the day and put a smile on my face. Anyone else want to share?
I think, just to interject here, we probably have to make our answers quick at this point. And yes, Quinn got her gift of gab naturally from her mom. So sorry, folks.
I can give a short and sweet answer. Just a simple smile and some eye contact with someone that may feel a bit like uncomfortable with the situation just really goes a long way.
Yeah, I think the outgoing nature is definitely helpful for people who are more shy or anxious in certain situations. So just knowing that you are here kind of like for them, I think people like that, like, I don't know, in social situations, sometimes I get nervous. So knowing that someone is there to, like, knowing that they're there for you, it's helpful, it's supportive.
I think kind of merging approachability and leadership is important. I know, like, a lot of us were in captain roles, especially when we were in high school now. So to kind of take that out of school and into university, the next level is important to just show people that just because you are in a leadership position, that doesn't mean you have to be intimidating.
Nice.
Yeah, like even in like small group conversations, like I know I'm more of an outgoing person, but just like making eye contact or asking someone who maybe doesn't want to speak up their opinion, even that can just help them feel included and involved.
Okay, great answers, everyone. I think that's everything from us, unless there's any other questions or anything else that Mom or Philippe, anyone that you want us to touch upon.
I'll just close with a couple words. I want to just say thank you to all of you. I'm very proud of all of you. And in so many ways, not just being compassionate people, but everything you do, it resonates and it's natural for you. And I'm extremely proud to have you as part of this event today. For anyone that's on the Facebook or going to watch this on YouTube, or who's streamed in live, please feel free to reach out. at any point, if you want resources or want to talk further about elaborating, or you just want to chat with any of us, including myself, but it was a pleasure to be part of such a special event, and I'm wishing all of you a happy Golden Rule Day. And I'm not sure if anyone else wants to add anything.
I just want to say thanks to Quinn for organizing everything. I know it's hard to like coordinate a group of people. So yeah, big thanks to you. And yeah, I'm glad we got to kind of meet up
Thank you
again.
for answering.
No, no problem. Yeah, no, it was fun. I'm glad we got to do it.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for participating. Everybody else, if you want to join with reactions on the Zoom and say thank you, you're welcome to. This was so inspiring, so exciting. This is truly like, in a way, a testament of what early intervention with Golden Rule, with compassion, with social emotional learning, and courses that help us to understand more our emotions and how we can be more compassionate, helps us to develop into better human beings. And I'm truly grateful for your contribution during Golden Rule Day this year, to all of you. Thank you once again for participating. Thank you for the people that are attending this webinar and for the people that will be watching this. We will be putting links and ways to communicate with everyone on the comments or in our YouTube channel, like the description of the video. Thanks once again, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you as well.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.